So let's look at this now. Let's look at the 7 global deceptions and how they could come together. Evolution teaches that we're on an upward and onward track to being a higher form of being. Evolution says that not just has evolution happened in the past where we moved from microbes to men, but now we're moving into a higher state of man, a higher state of being. Okay? So then that's the underlying philosophy of all the Western world right now. That evolution is true and that we are moving onward and upward. Okay? Now the lines of sex, life, socialism, race, and climate are all manifestations of that higher form. In other words, from the perspective of the godless world, as we strive to improve our sexuality, see, the world looks at identifying infinite types of gender as progress. You see, that is moving forward. We're now understanding more. We're evolving our understanding. As it looks at abortion, we are taking greater control over life. We are manifestors of our own destiny. We're moving forward. You see that? Because now we can control when we have babies and don't have babies. You see how that... So all of these, climate change is us recognizing the harm that we have done to the environment and acting as these great stewards of all of creation because we have now evolved to the understanding how we have to do. You see, all of these things flow out of this evolutionary view. This is us seeking to complete our evolution as a species. But a portion of humanity stubbornly resists our efforts and prevents our perfection. No matter how hard we try to take this next step in evolution, we can't ever get there. We're frustrated. The government can't do it, and we don't have enough money to spend, and we just can't make it happen. So we're looking for somebody to come along and save us. And then we have the deception of the UFO and the alien life that's slowly been spread over centuries. And all of a sudden, a being appears. An angelic-looking being from the cosmos who comes and is worshipped and is acknowledged to be a higher form of life to which we seek. And that being could be the Antichrist. It's not an alien, mind you. There are no such things as aliens. But that is how it may be presented. You see, all the lines of deception lead to him. Matthew Henry wrote of these verses, and he said these verses in 2 Thessalonians, speaking of how these things come together in this person in the future. He says, here the apostle seems to speak to the Antichrist's rise, which should be occasioned by the general apostasy he had mentioned. In other words, he's going to rise as Christians fall away. And to suggest, notice this, that all sorts of false doctrines should center in him. All these lies and these deceptions that have been sown by the mystery of lawlessness since 20 years after Christ finally come together. I was watching a movie recently and there was a statement made by some character. It was kind of one of those fictional sci-fi type characters. And the character said, "We measure our plans in centuries." And I thought, ooh, that's creepy. Satan measures his plans in centuries. You say, Wes, that sounds so far-fetched. That is just crazy. You can't possibly be serious. Brothers and sisters, have you read those verses lately? Read them again. There is a man that comes who works incredible miracles, and everybody in the world believes him and worships him as if he's God. Now, if that is not the definition of far-fetched, I don't know what it is. It's going to be far-fetched to those of us who know the truth. But to the rest of the world, it won't be. It'll make perfect sense.